Twitter is going crazy over Chick-fil-A's new hire.
So the conservative Christian company just hired a vice president of diversity, equality, and inclusion. The site stresses that one of the company's core values is inclusion, but the message is being met with resistance on social media. Many are debating the idea that Chick-fil-A's Christian values may or may not support diversity, equity, and inclusion. Meanwhile, some conservatives are now calling for a boycott of the fast food chain.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here. Let's talk a little bit about this new Chick-fil-A boycott we're now starting to call for, because Chick-fil-A is the same as Bud Light and they're all doing the same things, so we have to treat them all the same, right? Wrong. So Chick-fil-A has hired a VP of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Twitter, of course, says that it's going woke. If you scroll down on this AL.com story, they, of course, asked the question, is Chick-fil-A going woke? That's the reaction on social media now that the popular restaurant has reports on its website that Eric McReynolds is the VP of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And they say this: Chick-fil-A restaurants have long been recognized as a place where people know they will be treated well. Modeling care for others starts in the restaurant. We are committed to ensuring mutual respect, understanding, and dignity everywhere we do business, McReynolds is quoted as saying on the site. I'm sorry, why am I supposed to be upset about this? This doesn't really strike me as something that should bother us in any way, shape, or form. We should be completely fine with this. This is a reasonable statement for a corporation to have and a reasonable way for people to operate. Yet, for some reason, people are very mad about this. But let me just give you an alternate point of view. You know how when people call racism all the time when there is no actual racism? You know how people freak out about that and make these stupid arguments and try to tell you that everything is racism? How we say on the conservative side that the demand for racism far outpaces the supply of racism that's actually out there? That's what this is. I get it. I get it. Republicans, conservatives have finally got a win in the culture war. The Bud Light thing, the Target thing. Now Kohl's has gone crazy on transgender issues. One of the things that I always said at the very beginning of all of this was the argument against Bud Light was never that they supported gay people. Because if that was the case, you'd have to go into every beer possible and say, it's wrong that they did this. The problem was they targeted kids. And Dylan Mulvaney is someone who appeals to young people, and that's exactly what this is. And the transgender thing is absolutely out of control, and they're including it in their marketing, and that bothered people. Same thing with Target. It's not about the fact that they're inclusive. That's the world in which we live, and we may not like how ridiculous it is and how far it goes, but we got to wait until they actually do something that shows that it's ridiculous and it's going too far before we get all upset about it. Being mad about it just to be mad about it doesn't make you virtuous. It makes you sound like Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton is a clown. And if you're out here doing the same stuff Al Sharpton is doing, well, that kind of makes you a clown. I mean, look on Chick-fil-A's website and look at their mission statement and ask yourself, is this a company you really want to go after? Is this a company you really want to boycott? On their own website, the corporate purpose, to glorify God by being faithful steward of all that is entrusted to us, and to have a positive influence on all who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. Again, these are the people you want me to be upset about. These are the people you want to protest. These are the people that we're all supposed to get fired up about and say we're not going to eat the God's chicken anymore. That sounds ridiculous. It just sounds ridiculous because no one should actually be mad about this. What have they done? Nothing. When I go in there, are they still going to say, God bless, or my pleasure, and be the standard for fast food restaurant service? Absolutely. If that changes, we'll have a different conversation. If they start targeting my kid with transgender stuff, then we'll start having a conversation about it. But the fact that they hired someone and nothing's even happened yet makes you look like you're just looking for the next Bud Light because it's fun to do. And again, this is what has happened on the left and why the claims of racism mean absolutely nothing in our modern society unless you can show me actual racism. That's the part that people don't really seem to understand. And I'm going to show you how ridiculous it's getting. This is Dana Lash. Dana Lash is a conservative talk show host, so you can see her right there. She's on the air from 12 until 3, Monday through Friday. She is a conservative. She's a well-known conservative. But look at this. I guess she went to Lowe's? And here we have a tweet. Was at Lowe's getting a couple tomato plants to replace some lost volunteers. Is representation with plants a bit much? Yeah, maybe it is a bit much. Maybe it's a little ridiculous. I tend to agree. But so what? Your average kid's going to see this and think it's just rainbows. Okay, there's no issue here. But now we're trying to make everything into an issue. You know who does that? Again, Al Sharpton does that. MSNBC does that. There's no reason to go down that path here right now. It makes no sense. It has no tactical value. And it makes it look like all you're trying to do is make hay absolutely everywhere. So you want to boycott Chick-fil-A, go right ahead. But you better come up with a good reason. And the fact they hired some guy as a DEI representative or vice president, it is not that reason. Okay? It's just not. If you got a better one, I'd love to hear it. But I don't think you do. I think you're just looking for something to do right now. And I just got to tell you, this ain't it.